Hi, my name is Ray Canterbury. I'm going to be your host today on Archery Talk 101. And what we're going to talk about today is why some archers, when they're standing there, raise their arm way up and start drawing back and then bring their arm down. Uh, is that good or bad? Well, it all kind of depends on what you're looking at. But here's my thoughts on that. One, as you're pointing up in the air, if something goes wrong and you release that arrow, now you're pointing that arrow up in the air and not at your backstop. So that arrow could go who knows where. Uh, I've had that happen similar times. I've seen that. I normally take and will bend at the waist towards the target and put my arm towards the target as I'm standing there up. Now I'm going to be leaning forward a little bit and drawing and standing up, so I'm standing up straight. What happens a lot of times when people draw standing up straight, they end up leaning back after they've drawn. So now they're leaning back instead of standing up straight. And that helps in that. Now, the theory behind raising your arm up and then having it drop down as you're coming in, it's easier to take that bow to settle on your target if you're dropping down rather than trying to push up. The problem you run into is your arm is up. As you're drawing, the bow wants to push back on your hand this way and you're up. And now you're having to force it down because it wants to come back at you. So as you're drawing, your arm wants to come back towards the resistance is you have to push forward because the bow wants to pull it back. So if your arm is up, now you're going to be trying to push down as you're doing that. And just as an example, let's take, you find a partner and put your hand on their shoulder and try and push down and make a move. You're not going to be able to do it because that muscle back here pushing down is not very strong. So now take and standing up straight and put your palm on their shoulder and now push away. And you're going to be able to push that person away much easier by doing it that way. Pulling down, you're not going to be able to do that. So that is some of the theories behind doing it. I see a lot of archers do it. A lot of good shooters do it. The most important thing on your form is do the same thing every time. If you're going to be drawing, pulling down, if you're not shooting too much weight, do that. It's going to work for you because you're doing the same thing. That's the whole key in archery is you store energy in the bow and you aim. And if you do anything different, if you change your grip, you change the way you're drawing, all that can affect the way you shoot. So that is my thoughts on why you don't want to bring your arm down. One, you're pointing up in the air and you have to push down with the weak muscles instead of pointing at your target and pushing towards your target through the whole draw process. You're going to be able to draw your weight much easier as you're pushing away and pulling back. Your back muscles are going to tighten up and you're going to draw because you're going to be pushing your holding hand forward, drawing your release hand back as you're tightening those back muscles, and you're going to be able to pull much more weight much easier if you're trying to go with a little bit higher weight. One way to eliminate that is make sure you drop your weight down. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. I've had lots of experience working with the body and how it works on that. I spent 20 years doing martial arts, and a lot of that is all technique and how to use your muscles most efficiently to put the most power into your hand or your fist, or your foot, or whatever. And what you're doing is you're putting the power through that seam between, you take your little finger down where it meets your wrist, your thumb down where it meets the wrist, and that little pocket in there, that's what you're pushing with. And the most efficient way to push with that is pushing straight to your target as you're drawing. So just remember that is the spot right there where you're going to be pushing all the weight of the bow. You don't want it up on your hand because your hand is too flexible. The thing is to be consistent. If you're having it up on your hand and trying to pull down, you're not going to have a consistent form. I've seen a lot of people shoot very well with doing that. You can see a lot of archers come up, and there is a reason for it because it's much easier to hold the bow up and let it drift down to your target than it is to raise it up. It takes more work to raise it up because not only you're using a little bit different muscles, but you're also fighting gravity. Gravity wants to pull it down, so you're fighting the gravity. So now as you're dropping down, you can gradually settle down on your target. if your bow's not settling on your target, that is one of the things that you can change a little bit. And that's why I like to bend just slightly at the waist towards the target. So now my arm is actually up slightly, but not a lot. You see people going up that, like a 30-degree angle or so, pulling back. That's too much because now you're using the wrong muscles. But if you lean towards the target and you're pushing towards it as you're drawing back, you're all staying in line. You're looking at your target the whole time. As you're drawing, you can start focusing on the target as you're drawing. And then when you come back to your form, you're going to get back there, and now that pin is going to be sitting on your target because you started out putting it towards the target instead of letting it drift down to your target or pulling up on the target. If you draw low and go up, that you have to raise up, and that's why I like to lean slightly, because that helps raise it up to where you're at. But like I said, the most consistent way you can do it, it's what's going to work for you. So just remember that when you're going in there. I try different things. I know one time I was drawing back, and I had a release that the head actually broke on it. As I was drawing back, I was about halfway drawn back, and it still sent that arrow up into the ceiling at the range. So it's going to shoot up pretty high. Now, if I was drawing with my arm up, it have sent it straight up in the air, because I was drawing straight, and it still sent it up, probably a 45-degree angle up. So that's what's going to happen. If I'm already pointing up, now it's going to shoot that up about 45 degrees up in the air, and you're not going to know where that arrow is going to go. If you're indoors, you're going to hit the ceiling. They're just no way around it. If you're outdoors, most likely you're not going to hit your target. It's going to go somewhere you don't know. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. If you have any questions, you can go leave a comment, or there's always other places you can go to. One of the things that I offer is a Facebook group called Archery Talk 101, and you can go out there and join that. I'll leave a link to that in the description below, so you can go out to there. Then you can go out to archerytalk101.com, which is the website. I'll have links to all kinds of different things down there, as well as products that I might review. They'll be out there, and anything else that you like, information you'd like, would be in there, as well as any products links to where I've got products I reviewed, recommend. There'll be a link in there, the affiliate link in there. So then the other option you have is get into coaching. I've been teaching archery since 1995, so I have lots of experience doing it. And I'll leave a link in the description down below of how you can fill out a little questionnaire, so I know where you're at, and book a free 15-minute call with me. So once again, I'll leave the description of that below, so you can always get a hold of me with questions. The Facebook group has lots of information out there, a lot of form techniques. I have videos on that, as well as how to work on bows. Right now, there's a series going on how to work on a bow, repairing, starting off with making new strings, installing the strings, and it'll go clear up to the final setup on how to set the draw length, how to adjust the sight, the rest, the whole complete setup on a bow. And so go out to the Archery Talk 101 Facebook group and join in on the conversation and learn how to set up your own bow. So once again, my name is Roy Canterbury, and I've been your host today on Archery Talk 101.